Hey, what's going on, guys? We got Falcon Sparrow. We're going to start with this one. We're going to go through the run game. I know you guys like looking at these pages, and I do too. I feel like it gives you a nice little verification that you're looking at something that's real. Some leagues require you to show playbook stuff, so if this helps you in your league and you want to use it, just screenshot it, use it as proof, use it to learn football. You can see that these guys, whoever got this playbook, used the original Visio file with the line still in there, so it's a little hard to see. But let's just kind of talk about their system if you want to learn real football. Again, I've never coached in this system, but I'm trying to learn it with you guys. So what we're going to get is some code words. There's some coaching points on there that I'm not going to cover. I'm going to speak on it more from the video game standpoint. And as we grow and as I run this offense, particularly probably over the next couple of years, we're going to get more and more involved. Okay. So saying all that, Falcon Sparrow. So they use a word that's a bird word, right? And you can see on the screen here that the L term in the middle of Falcon is obviously indicating that the ball would be going to the left. Sparrow, the R is in the middle of this word, is going to go to the right. So when you hear a code word, you have to learn the animal, most likely, or try to memorize what it is. But there's some little things that help you out, right? Falcons are fast, birds, when we're running something to the outside, right? So things like that. Whatever helps, whatever hits your brain, okay? So the formations as we go through, we're going to take a look at some of this stuff here. So when I go to the next page, you're going to see a variety of formations that they probably have on day one install. So don't mind the two back stuff. We're not going to use that. I haven't really seen them use two back stuff. But something like this play right here, deuce, right? That's one of our formations. And then we have sparrows. So the ball's going to the right. We have something here, drop left. Okay, there's counter action, counter motion, falcon, right? And this man block, don't worry about it. That's just telling that guy what to do. The one block that I do want to talk about that is going to show up a lot is going to be something called flash. Okay. So let me just try to zoom in real quick. If you look at towards the bottom of this page, try to zoom in here. Okay, so a flash block. Let me not do it from this formation. Let's go to one that we actually are going to use. All right, so something like this, west left. Okay, you guys know the West Coast terminology from Shanahan. If you watch that series, a lot of the stuff is repeat, and we get this kind of back block right here by the tight end or the F position. Okay, on the end man on line of scrimmage. That's what that's like that slide action that you're going to get when you get in boot. So that's a big part of their offense. I think you guys who are familiar with this style of offense knows that that's a big part of it. Okay, now. You look at these plays, and the difference between this playbook and the Shanahan playbook is that you don't really see a lot of cans or getting from one play to the next. It looks like they're just run it plays. I'm not exactly sure if that's how he really called this plays. This is a college system, so I do believe we're probably just going to run the ball, and maybe there's some specific looks that they might see, like, hey, if it looks like all out blitz, and get to this pass play. I'm pretty sure they have some of that, or they're going to look to the sideline and get, one of those, the coach would give them the change to play. I forgot what they call it, just to look over stuff. Okay, so be ready for that because we are in one back formation. We're going to need that going forward. All right. So I think the next thing we can do here is just take a look at the playbook, and just take a look at how I organize it on the call sheet so you can know where to find these plays. Okay, so we have the call sheet here. The wide zone plays, I have them all listed there, and they are all in this section here. Okay, pretty simple. Um, all the plays are organized in this call sheet by formation, the way I see it, the way the formations kind of work together. Okay, so um, unfortunately, when we get on the field, when you call plays by the formation tag, by the formations, they're all over the place, as you guys know, right? So what I did is I took this really kind of I took all the plays that I have in my ready sheet and went through every formation, right? And I kind of just took the plays that were in the call sheet and I made sure that in my favorite section, they're in a specific order that flows with what you see here. Okay. So when we're looking for wide zone plays, the first formation that you're going to find it in is what they call deuce ace. Okay. And they call that in the game single back ace close. All right. And then as we go down, you'll see how I kind of group them. And it make more sense when we go on the field. But if you do want to follow my favorite system, it takes a while to get it set up. I think it's over 100 plays in there. But from when I'm calling the game, it's like I'm calling the game from a more controlled um, environment in my mind because the plays are, I can kind of see which play I've called out of each formation that's similar. Okay. And we'll talk about this because I kind of did this yesterday in a game last night and I wanted to kind of remember how I did it. But so, basically I'm calling certain plays out of certain formations, and then I'll go back into the recent play call list, all right? Or I'll go through my favorites and see, okay, I called this already in the last series. All right, let's call the next play off of that same formation. So that's kind of how I do it. But as we go along, really, the most important thing is to see that we have this in 12 personnel to start, then we have it in 11 personnel going down, and we do have 2 plays that are from the gun, okay? So wide zone, there's a good amount of plays here. I did keep it so that if you're looking at the play call sheet, I kind of said this already before. Some of these plays that are in bold. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can see like this first one right here. This is a bolded play. That means it lives somewhere else. Okay. And the first place you want to see if it lives is actually in the openers that I have called here. That play is not in there, I don't think. I don't see the wide zone play there. So it's probably somewhere else. It's probably somewhere in third down or in the red zone. Okay. So that's that. I did update this sheet. This is version 2 now since I'm making changes to it. So I will get it to you guys later. Actually, I'll put it into this video so you can always have the most up to date version to what I'm working on. Okay. All right. Let's jump onto the field and let's take a look at some of these plays. Okay. I don't want to make the video too long. So really what I'm going to do is kind of just show you the favorites. All right. So my favorites here start with ace close formation. I'm going to speak in the college football world. Then we go to deuce close. You see all the formations are pretty much in the same order as that ready list. And then as we're looking for plays, they would be in kind of the same order of the play categories that I have. So all my wide zone plays are always going to lead the formation. Then you're going to see inside zone and so forth, so on and so forth. The pass plays. So remember those tabs that were at the bottom of the ready list? That's pretty much how it works out, right? And I always group them in groups of 3, 6, or 9, depending on how many plays I want from each formation. Like there's 6 in this formation. So we have good things. The good thing about ace close is that this is a play that you can call that you can Oscar, right? So you can always flip this play to where there's less numbers. So right now we're just going to go to the right. We're not going to talk about technique of this play right now. We do more of that when we get into like actually watching some games and some cut ups, which we'll do in another video. Okay. But I want to make sure you guys can get out there and play with this playbook. All right. Then we have it at a deuce close. Same thing. It's a symmetrical formation, so we can flip this if need be. All right. The next one we have is at a wing close. And also from a audible standpoint, these things are grouped together. So like if it's for formation shifting, you can go from deuce close to wing close and only one player is going to move. You know what I mean? So I kind of keep it together that way. If I can build a playbook like this from stock, it would be, I mean, from scratch, it'd be great, but they don't let you. So I'm basically building out the playbook that I have here, 144 calls in my call sheet. It's pretty much right here in the favorite section. Okay. All right. So the next one here is you off trips, which is to me like a second category of formations. Now we're into the slot family formations. We don't have any stretch there, but we do have it here at a wing slot. Okay. So to me, this is one of the best formations in the game. And when we watch cut ups of these guys, they run a lot of slot formations. So it's either going to be slot 2x2, or it's going to be from 12 personnel, or it's going to be a lot of trips from either 11 or 12 personnel. So again, you would count your numbers. You would see how many blockers you have. One thing I will just say here is just be aware of in this game, college football, if guys are underneath 5 yards, and if they're close enough to you, like to the line of scrimmage, so these two DB players, right, they're down below 5 yards, right? The 5 yard mark is right there. So if they're down there, the tight ends and the O line will target them. But they have something interesting in the game where if somebody's over 5 yards, standing beyond 5 yards, like this safety back there, they won't target them. So there are some times when you kind of say, oh, well, there's less numbers there, but then you look at it and then the guy comes screaming downhill from depth. So it's one of the things in the game. We go from there. So just you can also Oscar this. If you Oscar this, that means the ball is going to go to the open side, all right? Which is called Wolf and Jaguar. I won't show that play because there really aren't There's only like one play in this playbook that actually is Wolf and Jaguar. Where Wolf, this would be Wolf to the left, Jaguar would be to the right. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look at these other formations that we have here. All right, so going down the list, that was 12 personnel, and then 11 personnel. We get into this pistol Y off trips play. We actually have the wide zone play here. So remember, wide zone compared to stretch, the big difference is that the wide zone, the angle's a little bit tighter, okay? And the angle is going to make it easier for you to be able to go straight up and down the field and make kind of that AKA cutback. It's not really a cutback. It's just putting your foot in the ground. The one cut rule. All right. After 5 steps, put your foot down and go north and south. This play right here is going to allow you to keep it tighter. It's going to allow you to bang it out wider. That's a horrible run example right there. I apologize, but go from there. Now again, it's still one back. So if they have an overloaded front and or numbers to that side, you might want to go with Oscar in it, which is changing the play to the left or changing it to the right or getting out of it into a different play. All right. Okay. So that's that. And then we have a bunch of 11 personnel stuff. I won't go through it all. You guys have the play call sheet. I just want to make sure I can if there's anything that pops up, double stack, pistol double stack here. It's tight slots. When you play against the computer as well, I got to give little tips on that. These plays work really well. Just don't use them every single play, but if you use them like every 5 to 6 plays, I mean, stretch is a really good play against most computer teams. All right, so and then we do have a couple out of the gun, 2 out of the gun. I'm not a big fan of it, but I wanted to keep it in the game, see if it's going to be good for me. I'm not sure if it is. Here goes the one Wolf Jaguar play. All right, this outside zone play from 10 personnel. Let me make sure I have this here. Y off trips. Yep, I do have this in the play call sheet. So this is one of the plays that you can use. It's 4-by-1 formation, right, or a 1-4 split, and we can run outside zone to the weak side. So that'd be a nice little play right there. That honestly, that play could end up becoming a third down play as well. I think that's a pretty good like third and long run play that you can use, especially if you have good blockers for outside zone. All right. All right. So that's pretty much it. Just one more thing. I gotta always talk about third down because I'm not gonna be able to. I'll come back to third down later, but there is the one play that I took here for third down is at a pistol wing flex close. All right. So part of the 2-by-2 setup. I don't have it over here, but I have it. I'm looking at my play call sheet. I don't have it in that initial run section, but it is in the third down section. That's where it lives. So let me just go get the formation real quick if I can. Is that a pistol? I like this formation. It is also a formation that's in the stock playbook, and we have wide zone. All right. So this is one of the few wide zones that are set up for you. You can run this formation. If you don't like the look, you can always can it and get to another play. All right. So I won't spend as much time on the other runs coming up here, especially inside zone. You guys all know inside zone, but let's go to inside zone. Actually, let's go to jet sweep next. Okay, so we have the jet sweep play right here. This is I don't have an actual drawing of this play, unfortunately. So we're just gonna jump on the field. I only have 3, which will probably surprise people. I'm probably going to call it that many times in a game. That's just how I am. That's the pro style in me. I'm not going to abuse the play and run it too often. But however, Sean McVay, he runs this play a lot. Actually, Coen, not so much. But do remember this: there are going to be a lot of jet sweep motions in this whole game plan. That's going to make people think it's a jet sweep. I actually pull out and actually give the jet sweep once I get the preferred look. Okay. So what is the preferred look? Well, let's go and take a look at it on the field. Okay, so we're back here looking at the jet sweeps. Deuce ace, which is ace close, right there, jet sweep. Now, right now, this playbook is a 4-2-5 playbook. So we're just come out. Let me show you something with just regular over. Okay. Let me just call a play actually. I'm gonna call a variety of plays from this formation. All right. You can run this jet sweep as long as there is what I call a 7 technique. Okay, so I apologize. I can't. Maybe I'll highlight this when I actually make the video when I edit it. So I'll put a little highlighter here over the guy that I'm talking about. But right now, number 6 is going from left to right. and there is a defense alignment and a 7 technique. Did I say 6 technique? If it's a 7 technique, don't worry about that either. Then you can run the ball outside. Right now, look at both of those defensive edge players. They are in a 9 technique. And if that happens, this play is not a good play. Okay. I don't run it versus 9 techniques because they don't get blocked sometimes. So let me just show you. All right. They don't get blocked all the time. Sometimes that happens where he goes back inside, depending on the defense called, but they do not get blocked. Now, here goes the 7 technique. So we should be fine here. Right. What's happening though is the 3 technique is making a play. He's a really good player there. If you have a choice, right? Right now, the safety came running down to the left. So they have an extra player. We're not going to run to the left. We're going to run to the right. If you ever had a choice, or actually right here, you probably don't. We want to get out of the play right here. I apologize. We have a 9 technique on the outside. Okay. We have numbers to the left. Even if we flip this play, we have another nine technique to the left. This is not a good play. All right. If you ever do get caught in this situation, you can try to run backwards a little bit, like a half a step, to get outside of somebody that's unblocked. That would be my other coaching point if you ever do get caught in that situation. But again, this is not a play that I want to run versus this. Look, we have 2-9 techniques, okay? I was showing you this because I want you now to see it versus the 4-2-5 defense. If you don't know, will give you 7 techniques all the time, okay? So versus this look, we're pretty good. Just got to watch that 3 technique again. But we're good to run this versus somebody that's aligned in the C gap. If there's somebody in the D gap, then we're in trouble. All right, they changed the front here. I guess I picked random. So now we got an actual 9 technique. Now, if you ever get something like this and you do want to run the play, you want to take the chance of running backwards a little bit, I suggest to flip the play here and run it away from the 3 technique. So run it to the left where there's that big B gap bubble. Even though we have a 9 technique to the left, I would run it to the left. And then when you get the ball, get ready to go backwards a little bit. Try to use that speed to get around the guy. All right. That would be my thing because there's a good chance he's not going to get blocked if he's in that D gap, if he's a 9 technique. All right. Here goes a 3-4 type of front, right? So this is a good point. You can run this either way. So I would just take this towards, actually, take that back. Run it to the left. All right. Where the nickel is. Don't run this to the right where we have what? A stand up jack linebacker standing outside. He's basically a 9 technique. So I'm going to take this play. I'm going to flip it. All right. I'm going to run it away from the 9 technique. And there we go. All right. Use whatever moves you have to. We know the spin move is probably the most popular move right now and go from there. All right. Here goes another 3-4 style defense. Obviously, the numbers are to the left that are better. So we're going to flip this play. All right. And we should be pretty clean here. But sometimes guys come through clean. So don't be surprised if somebody comes through clean. Just go backwards a step. All right. Maybe this is not the most sim way of saying it, but you got to do that. All right. Now over here, we don't, this play right here, I would not run this play regardless, really, to either side. I would get out of it. So that's where getting into this play is probably like a good audible play. I think it's in my audibles. So this is why I only run it 3 times a game. All right, guys. So that's the beginning of that. Let's take a look at the other ones because the other play here I have is built out of slot formation. And the rules would be a little bit better for you. It'd be a little bit easier. The blocks are a lot better versus this YY look. Okay, so let me do random nickels. So the only guy you have to really worry about is that edge player. Okay, is the corner. But even though we have a 9 technique defensive end here, we have 2 tight ends, and those guys will block the 9 technique. All right, then you just got to put a move on potentially a corner that's sitting out there. So you have to cut up inside or cut outside, go from there. All right, we got a mint type of front right here. Okay, we got the 4-eye inside the B gap. We got the 9 technique or a wide 9 sitting out there over that tight end. This play right here, you can still run it, but you know that, what did I say? That corner and that safety that's sitting back there, they're deeper than 5 yards. So there won't be any combination block up to them. They're basically going to be free. So your job is to have to beat these 2 guys with speed or whatever. So just understand that. Take a look at this again. This is obvious, like all-out pressure look. They outnumber us completely. So we would just get out of this play and run something completely different, all right? You can run stretch. I wouldn't run stretch to that side either because they outnumber us. So I would Oscar this and make this into wolf, right? And I would just run stretch weak. You can see how that works out, right? Okay, let's look at the last one. This one here I'm going to show you is not It's in black. Remember, stuff that's in black is not on the actual. It's not in the Kentucky stock book, but it is in my custom book. So everything obviously in the custom book is stock and customs all in there. Let's go find it real quick. The formation is stack right clamp, which is single back tight Y off flex. All right, this jet sweep here. So 2x2, same rules. We have a 9 technique. We don't really want to run this play here, so I would get out of it. Okay. If you run it though, just make sure you go backwards. Try to get around that guy. All right, and try to make your yards. I do have some other sweep plays that are in the red zone that are actual pass plays. So let's take a look at those. Actually, you know what? Let's save that for the red zone tape. Sorry to do that to you guys, but the thing about that is we do have a halfback that's standing that's blocking on those plays, but they don't always block. So I would just use the same rules that I used here. I'll go back and double check that before we get to the red zone. I don't want to give you any bad information, but that's the base jet plays that we have, jet sweeps, handoffs that we have from the playbook right now. All right. So let's follow along in the playbook. Now let's go to I think probably the play you're going to call the most is going to be the jet fakes. All right, so let's take a look at that real quick. Okay, so we're back here. We have our jet fakes. So they are in the same formations that we have. All right, so this is not going to be a long part of the video. I just want to show you some of the things that I look for when I run these type of plays. Okay, so I try my best, and it's not always perfect, okay? But I try my best to run this play to where there's a tight end to the lead side, okay? So this becomes technically, we're going to learn it soon, Buffalo and Badger, where it's inside zone to the tight end, okay? So the first jet play right there, the fake jet, I would start with this one, um, and then get to the jet later and actually give it. And I would use this. This could be a good third down play. This could be a good red zone play, like in the goal line inside the 2. I might actually end up moving one of these plays to one of or using it, not just moving it, but using it in the goal line. Okay, so we get this fake action right, and the main thing is that sometimes if you run this play to an open side, whoever was covering, we're going to see it here soon. Whoever was covering the jet action guy, the nickel, if you run this to if there's no tight end over here, he would just be free to get free to tackle you. But here we still have enough players and numbers that we can double team and work our way up. All right, so that's just the beginning of that. Let's just take a look at it again. Keep that one tight. The nickel was really wide on that one, so that's one of my favorite plays. Um, this other one, let's go to the one that's 11 personnel out of the single back Y off flex formation. Okay. So this one here is not ideal. It's still to the open side, but there is a tight wide receiver, right? Because this formation is technically stack. All right. So our slot receivers on the line of scrimmage and the X is off the ball. X is going to go back in motion, right? And then we can just work the side. And our receiver needs to be a good blocker, right? There's a good chance that he's going to have to block the nickel. Here's a good example. By the way, that formation right there on defense, if you see people using double mugs like this, inside zone plays in general are really good versus this formation. All right, a big thing on defense I always heard was, hey, do not call double mug. Don't be a double mug versus under center. Okay. Okay. So sorry, I got a phone call in the middle of that breakdown right there. All right, let's move on to the last one. Here is a power play. So it's really not inside zone. It's actual power. So you really I think you probably want to save this one for the end. If you do want to run this play, here we go, jet halfback power, because you're going in the same direction as the um, jet motion. So we get the jet motion, we get the power play heading to the same side. You're going to get maybe somebody's, this is where you've used it a few times and people are not falling for the jet anymore. They're just sitting there. So this would be one of these plays that you use in the second half. That's pretty much a guarantee to make sure you have the good blocking that you make sure you have the people to block. All right. So that's the end of the jet plays for now. We're going to see a lot more jet motion when it comes to the inside zone series, the tight zone series, which we'll start next. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at Buffalo and Badger. So Buffalo's to the left, Badger's to the right. We are looking at inside zone. Okay, this is going to be run to the tight end side. So that's where we're trying to get towards, get the work in right there. Let's take a look at some of these formations. Deuce, Buffalo. Okay, Deuce left, Buffalo, West left, Buffalo, Flash. Okay, so we put the flash tag on there. All right. And then that is pretty much it. Now, the great thing about these just names, when they hit the gun, it's going to be the same thing. There's no number system here. It's pretty easy. Love that. Now, we can put Buffalo or Badger with the Bible tag. Okay. Bible tag, all that does is turn it into a zone read. All right. So we will read there, obviously, the backside defensive end. So this is double right. We got Badger Bible. Okay. And then we can also put a bubble on there as well. So jam left is the name of that formation here. Okay. And we're going to go Buffalo Bible Z bubble. All right. So that's pretty much how they call it. Funny thing is that this setup here, this was definitely used before the, college teams have now the comp system and they can just talk to the quarterback. So he may not have even wanted to have done this if he had the ability to call like an NFL team, but I like this. I think this is really smooth. It's really easy. Let's take a look at some formations. So we have our guns because, in the Shanahan system, they would have to call this 34, 35. If it's gun under center, it would be some, so it's just a lot to remember. But this is really simple. And I think this is really college friendly. You can see the different formations here, get a feel for what he's getting ready for, 2x2. A lot of this jam formation, we'll talk more about that later. So then we have Beetle and Spider. Okay, so I'm just gonna instead of showing you Buffalo and Beetle, showing you the two different runs, I'm just gonna give it to you here, and then when we get on the field, we're gonna mix the two together. So this is open side, inside zone. So again, open side is always away from the tight end, where there's no tight end, and we're just running the exact same thing: Beetle to the left, Spider to the right. Okay, we have the flash block up here, so we got double left. This is going to be off. The Y is off right there. I've seen sometimes he's called it some other formation names. I got to check. I thought this is actually Doff, just Doff left, but that's okay. Double left, off, right? Beetle, flash, going to the left with the flash block, right? All right. So that's pretty much it there, guys. There's nothing really, it's not that complicated. It's the main part of the inside zone plays. Let me see if there's another sheet here for you. Oh, okay. So let's just take a look at it on the college football field. Okay, so let's just take a look at the plays here. We have a lot of plays, more than we do outside zone, or wide zone. So don't be surprised by that. A good amount of 12 personnel. Again, I like to split it probably right here. I see I have an error here on my I changed it over here. This is actually drop slot formation. I think that's how they would call single back U off trips. So we'll talk about that later when we get to it on the field. But then we have our 12 personnel slot family right here, right? So if you look at that set, that group of plays, right? We have one, the first one here has a jet motion, so we're going to have some jet stuff with the flash block as well, okay? And then we have the other two are pretty basic. If it says halfback zone weak, that's going to probably be a Beetle play, right? If it says inside zone, it's probably going to be a Buffalo play, all right, or Badger play. So that's that. And then we also have the fake jets that come out of this. And then when we get into, we already kind of talked about the fake jets already. I apologize. We talked about that. So that's part of this deal. Okay. When we get into the read option stuff below it, it's going to be the same thing. Hold on one second. A lot of it's going to be off of inside zone read option. So you're going to see a lot of Buffalo, Bible. Okay. We do have one here that's a wide zone option. But here, a lot of Beetle, right, running into the open side. Beetle Spider, read option, Bible. Okay, so that's in there. All right. And when we get to RPOs, you're going to get some inside zone handoffs as well. So we'll come back to that later. But let's just go on to the field now and take a look at the plays that we need to talk about. Okay, so remember in the favorite section here, inside zone is going to be the next most popular play for me. It's going to probably be right behind all the wide zones, or it might lead off probably every single formation that we have. So if you want to find them, do it this way. If you want to copy this, the way that I do this, by the way, the favorite system, I never said this to you. Um, the best way to do it is, you know what? I'll make a separate video. I'll just make a separate video. It'll be at 144 plays. I'll flip through it. If you guys just want to build it out that way so you have it for yourself, just like I do, I'll give that to you separately. I'm sorry that I did not make that an option right from the beginning, okay? All right, so don't worry because you guys will get a film for this later. All right, so we have our first formation, ace close, right? We have halfback zone weak, so that's technically Buffalo, all right? And if you follow along on the play call sheet, you'll see it there. If you The whole idea of calling it left and right would be it's kind of just where's your main tight end, where's your stud tight end, the one that can block. Okay, deuce close. So now we have our Beetle. This would be Beetle Flash. If you flip it, it'd be Spider Flash. All right, and go from there. So I'm not gonna go through all of them. Well, some of the best ones though that I really like a lot right now, like this jet split zone. I actually have this also highlighted. I think I put this either in the red zone or I put it into another situation. Or my first and 10. Let me take a look real quick. Hold on. I'm sorry, my openers. Yeah, this one. Oh, not this one. I have this actually in my. I'm looking on my sheet over here as I talk to you. I think I have this in the red zone somewhere. Again, when you look at the stuff later on, you'll see the plays that are in bold. They live in two different places. So I'll figure out exactly where that one lives. But this is a nice play. Let me just show it to you. It's a lot of this to me is like the hallmark of the offense. Of course, we get an all-out pressure, but we get this jet zone, fake jet zone, and we get the flash block, and we're just running inside zone. So you get all this counter action, all these smoke and mirrors. This to me is the offense. Like if there was a gotta have it play, I'll probably run this. Okay, because this will make everybody play very passive and not want to do anything in the middle. They're going to be thinking it's boot. They're going to be thinking it's jet, and all you're doing is running straight up the middle. So that's kind of a hallmark play. We have another one here out of 11 personnel. This one, oh, we talked about that one already. Give me 1 second here. Here we go. So we have this one here out of pistol double Y off stack, 2x2. Same thing, out the gate, right? Somebody's either going to be falling for going outside to the jet motion or they're going to be falling back on this flash motion. All right, so we're good to go there. So go through these plays, and then we're also going to have obviously our gun run plays. That's going to be in there at 11 personnel. We go backwards. We have our spread stuff. So this is going to be probably the number one play in the offense, let's be honest, because remember when you run zone read stuff, it's going to be a lot of the same thing. And here goes a shotgun Y off trips play, 1-4 split. This is just the basic play that guy trying to be a hero, but we're good to go there. Okay, so that's the end of that. And then the read option plays are in there. You can find those plays. It's easy to find. You guys understand read option. We have it out of 12 personnel, 11 personnel, and 10 personnel. Okay, and then the RPOs. So let's go back real quick and take a look at some of the RPOs. This is going to be a specialized play that I think we're going to use more in the red zone, but let's just take a look at them and just know that that's part of the offense as well. Okay, so we have our RPO plays here. These are the ones that I have that are kind of set right in the beginning, but you're going to see these things pop up all over. I'm pretty sure this one right here, this west left slot play, this west slot play out of wing slot play, this wing slot formation is going to be also, it's highlighted. So I think I have that up as one of my openers or also one of my third down plays. Let's go take a look real quick. But again, that's a very solid play. Gives you a man zone tell. You kind of tell what's going on. Force their hand. It's right here. Okay, it's in my openers. It's also here. So if you're going through and you're looking for new plays throughout a game, you say, hey, you may not want to choose the ones that are in bold, or you want to at least just know that you may have ran it already because it pops up in another situation for you. That's something that with the play call sheets, I'm trying to make it better every single time I give it to you guys. All right. All right. So this one here is a very interesting one on the field. This RPO jet slide read play. I have to really work on it, but there's like multiple options here. That's a really unique play. But we have just our generic 3-by-1 formations, gun trips, bubbles. Okay. RPO bubbles. So I didn't put any read RPOs in there where we're actually reading with the quarterback to run option and also throwing the ball. Did not put that in there, but you can do that if you like. Now, when we get down to the red zone, there's a lot more RPOs down here as well. This is where you really want to, in my opinion, use it. I think it's really easy to get a nice little easy touchdown. It's part of the run family, but it is becomes a pass. Okay. And then in the third down area, I don't think I have a whole lot of RPOs right now. I've been using more of the QB runs. So maybe I'm missing it right here, but we can always throw one in there. Probably do it like on third and long or something like that, or third and medium. Maybe not, but we'll talk about that later. All right. So the RPOs are there, guys. We're going to spend more time on that when we get to the specific situations, like the one that I have highlighted right now, the RPO glance. To me, is like the big game changer in college football the past couple years, where people are throwing vertical RPOs. The ball's going down the field, so people can't just defenses have to play it differently. Coverage is more important than fronts in today's football because of that reason. So this is a big part of the game. We want to work it. We either want to make the defense stay back and not come up for the run, and that's what's going to happen if you run this play, or you want to make them, pay for being over aggressive trying to stop the run. All right. So we're good with that. The last part of this deal will be looking at the gap trap plays. Okay, so the first play in the gap trap scheme is the play called duo, which is gap trap is part of the power family. And anybody that knows to play duo, it's blocked just like you do power, except you don't have the pulling guard on the backside. Okay. So if anybody's familiar with that, that's kind of the way it works. You're going to get your double team blocks, and they're going to be working back towards some linebacker after the double team going in the opposite direction of the run. So that's how you tell. In the double teams, the players are not stepping flat like they do in wide zone. They're stepping more downhill on tracks, 45-degree angle tracks, working down, trying to get movement off the line of scrimmage first. Okay, so that's something to think about. Ali Frazier stands for two big boxers, heavyweight boxers, which when we're going to be in 12 personnel. So we're going to get YY wings and all these looks, 12 personnel, Ali Frazier, Ali to the left, Frazier to the right. So we see all the formations here that we have. These are all 12 personnel wing formations, okay? The next one, though, let me show it to you in a second here. The next one here is Floyd Mayweather. So again, a lighter boxer. We're going to use this. This is going to be our duo scheme. We're running it out of 11 personnel. Okay, so you're going to see it from the gun or under center or from pistol, but we don't have two tight ends on the field. We're not running to the YY side. Okay, so for now, it's still the duo scheme. I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. We don't have a whole lot of these players in the playbook right now. We're going to probably have to add some more as we go along. But you guys who like duo, you should be happy that it's in the book. And I'm going to show you the pin and pull stuff right now. I'm not going to probably be able to show it to you on the field. So let me just show you to the book while I'm in here. Okay, I apologize. The first one would actually be our counter play. Okay, so counter is Kelsey and Gronk, right? So we're still in the gap family. All right, so that formation right there, they call it trough, which is just basically trips Y off. All right, and then over here, we have our counter play going back to the left. Okay, so instead of calling it 38-37 or whatever it might be in the Shanahan system, Coen decided to make it very simple for his college system. All right. And then the last one we're going to take a look at is going to be, I have some pictures here, Paul and Peter. And this is the pin and pull scheme. Okay, so we don't have right now any pin and pulls. I think I might have one counter that just added in there. We need to find some pin and pulls, but as long as we know the names of this stuff, it'd be good for us just to know in the future. But I don't have any examples to show you of this play. All right, well, let me just give it to you guys just so you can have a look at it, get some blocking schemes, take a screenshot, go from there. All right. So let's jump into our playbook real quick and just kind of take a look at these plays and we'll quickly take a look at them on the field. Okay, so as you see, it's not a lot of gap trap in this playbook. All right. I forgot what counter was called back then, so I didn't put it in there. So I will make that change. That's going to be Gronk and Kelsey. Ali Frazier. We have our 212 personnel plays, and then we have another counter. So that would be another Gronk and Kelsey. Um, like I said, I don't have right now in the book a whole lot of pulling plays that's similar to pin and pull. So I have to try to find those maybe for a different version, version three. But just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. And let's just jump on the field real quick and take a look at it. Okay, so the first one's going to be at a deuce close, and it's just counter Y. I think this is one of my favorite ways to start a game is to actually call counter. I've been doing this in all of my West Coast offenses for years. Um, it just gets everybody thinking every time there's a puller that we need to go and track that puller. And then all that does is set up what? It sets up your zone split game. Okay. And then once they get used to, oh man, the puller doesn't mean anything. Let me stay here. Then you hit them with the boot and the boot's going to be wide open. So that's kind of the thought process that the steps and the levels that I like to use against most people. And then we have our Ali Frazier play. So wing close, which is just West Ace in their formation book. We have duo. All right. Good play call. Don't call it versus. Let me just come out here and see if I can show you. Somebody comes out and they try to blitz the world on you. People can kind of run through on this play a little bit. If you try to still run into it. Okay, right there, that one got picked up. But I've seen it happen where these linebackers would come screaming through. All right, I'm not getting an example there. So just be careful of that. But it's a pretty good play versus mostly everything. We also have it out of West slot formation, which I like. Surprised I have this one above it. Hold on. Oh, wait, went the wrong way. Duo here, okay? Single back wing close, that's what I have there. And then, oh yeah, I do have it here. There we go. So 26 duo is what it's called in the game, all right? I have it labeled as just duo, so I got to change that as well. A couple little things, guys. I apologize. There's always going to be some typos. Doing this stuff is tough when you got like over 200, you got 200 plays to go through, put them in there, input them correctly. It's not easy. All right, enough excuses. We also have a counter play out of the gun. Halfback counter you. All right. So that's the beginning of that. And I think I did take one play and put it into the red zone. We'll cover it later on. So that's pretty much the extent of the run game. We do have some drawers. We do have some QB runs that I added in later. And if you look at the play call, you look at the ready sheet, look underneath the comp runs, the second what do you call it, tab. At the very bottom, I put in 6 plays into the call sheet to use mostly on third down, like we talked about, third and 1 to 4, and also in the red zone that are going to be speed option plays, some one QB direct play, like a QB lead play where the halfback becomes a lead blocker, just to get some of those QB runs in those situations. All right, man. That's pretty much the meat and potatoes of the base run game. When it comes to the openers, you guys can change that up to whatever you want, but you're going to see me using different formations, try to get some people's game checks, things like that. All right. So the next part we'll be talking about the play action game, which is a good big chunk of their offense. This to me is the backbreaker. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and the one little quick tip I'll give you a preview on this was, you know, people in college play more cover four, true cover four, where the safeties are running down and trying to play those over routes, right? Well, this is where this offense murders because if you get people that are chasing over routes, it opens up other routes like deep post routes and other shot plays off of the basic Yankee concepts. So that's why you see in the NFL people don't do that as much. All right, man. I will talk to you guys later in the next video. Like I said, these things are going to come out pretty quick daily. I might even try to do two in one day. I had some other personal stuff that happened that won't allow me to get it all done in one day, and I have some big games that I got to play for conference championship tomorrow. So I want to look at some film and actually do some film study, which I haven't been doing a lot this year. So when I actually, do the game, I can go back and talk to you about what my game plan was. All right. All right, man. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.